Hi everybody, this is Shelly with the Giard group and today is Training Tuesday. So I've been experimenting a little bit with the times of day that I post my videos and I've decided to try something different tonight, and that's post a video at night because there seems to be a lot of traffic online at night. That's when people are kind of winding down and finding things to do. So I'm trying that this evening. So today is Training Tuesday, so Tuesday night is when we're posting the video, and I'm really excited today because we're actually going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that is setting goals. Now, a lot of people that I talk to have absolutely no idea where to even start. And then I have other people that I talk to that they go, yeah, well, I want to do things, but, I don't ever write it down. It's just kind of in my head. So what I plan on doing today is spending the next half hour teaching you some very, very detailed ways of setting your goals, how to set them so that you can actually achieve them. Because that's kind of the point. And there's nothing exciting and nothing motivating about setting a goal and never achieving it. So my goal is to get you in momentum, to get you seeing success, experiencing success, so that you can actually just continue to set goals all the time. I personally live by goal setting, whether it's a to-do list of things I want to get checked off, or actually sitting down and really defining clear, concise goals for the entire year. I do it all the time. So hopefully you will spend the next 30 minutes learning some things that can help you put this stuff into play. And with that being said, let's get started. Ready, set, get out a piece of paper, let's go. So I kind of narrow goals down into a few different categories as far as the steps into creating realistic goals. Motivation. Okay, so the first thing is you have to have a motivation behind the goal that you're setting. So in other words, motivation is a combination of the desires, the values, and the beliefs that will drive you into action. So without motivation, the chances of you actually reaching a goal that you set is very unlikely. So the first thing that you need to do, the first step, is to decide the goal that you're going to go for, but then you have to decide what's going to motivate you to actually go after it. So once you define what motivates you and the areas you want to change, you're going to write them down in one column. So you're going to write down motivation on the left-hand side. So from left to right, you're going to write down motivation. Then you're going to write the goal in the middle. And then on the last end, you're going to write action plan. So you're going to have 3 columns, and you write motivation, goals, and then action plan. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So step 2, you're going to define your strengths and weaknesses, because without doing this, if you don't know what your strengths are that are going to help you achieve this goal, and if you don't know what your weaknesses are, they're going to keep you from achieving this goal, then the chance of you achieving it are probably slim. So if you define your strengths and define your weaknesses, basically you're going to have more success. So now I want you to get another piece of paper, and I want you to write down strengths, and then in another column, how they'll help me. And then the last column is how I will use them. So you're going to define your strengths. You're going to write down a little brief description of how you think that strength is going to help you achieve this goal that you've set. And then you're going to talk about how you're going to use it. Okay? So in a few minutes, I'll give you an example. Then the next thing you're going to do is on the same piece of paper, you're going to create a column that says weaknesses. And then you're going to put how they are going to stop me. So how they're going to stop you, how they're going to prevent you from reaching your goal if you don't strengthen that weakness. And then the last column is how you will fix them. So what's your action plan on actually getting better at whatever it is you're weak in. Okay? So you don't want to be vague. You want to be very detailed. And when you're detailed, you actually, again, you have more success rate if you're detailed. If you make something very vague, you leave it too broad and you leave it too wide open for you to actually know what your target really is, if that makes sense. All right, so you have now defined your goals. You defined your motivations for those goals. You've talked about your action plan. You've defined your strengths. You've talked about how they're going to help you achieve the goals you've set, how you're going to use those strengths to achieve that goal, so kind of your action plan there. And then you've defined your weaknesses, how they would stop you if you don't strengthen them, and how you're going to fix them. So your action plan on what to do to strengthen those weaknesses. Does that make sense? Hopefully you're still with me. Okay, so step number three is to actually write down your goals in grave detail. So now this is going to be another piece of paper, okay? So this is going to be paper number 3, and you're going to write down your goals in very, very detailed descriptions, okay? Now this is probably going to take a while. This is usually the hardest part, and I'm really, really, really excited to be teaching this type of thing in a weekend workshop, and that's going to be my very first workshop. I've had a lot of people, that want to become something better than they are now, but the first thing you have to do is you have to learn to set goals, and you have to learn how to actually go after them and achieve them. So I'm really excited to teach this in-depth course through a seminar, or through a workshop, actually, a weekend workshop, which will be announced soon. So number 3 is defining your goals. So you're going to set clear, obtainable, realistic goals so that you can actually see success. I talk to a lot of people and they'll say stuff like, I'll say, what are your goals? What are your goals? Tell me about them. And they'll say, oh, well, I want to be rich. Okay, so what is rich? Because if I asked 10 different people what rich was to them, I guarantee that there would be 10 different answers. So again, that's very vague and you have to be detailed. So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about short-term goals. Now also, if you have personal goals and then you have business goals or career goals, those also have to be on separate sheets of paper. So I know it sounds like a lot to write down, or you can type it in your computer if you want to, but I will tell you that there's something about physically writing something down that helps it stick and last a little longer. So if you write something down, it definitely helps. So even if you do that first and then type it into your computer on a spreadsheet or however you want to do it, that's fine. But I absolutely 100% encourage you to get out a good old-fashioned piece of notebook paper and actually brainstorm. It's been known, it's a known fact that the smartest people in the world, these known mentors for many, many years, have written things down. And I suggest that you do that as well. I highly, highly encourage that. So we're going to break it down in short term. Now, you're going to define your short-term goals. So short term is 3 to 6 months. So we need to break it down in baby steps. Just like when an infant is first born, you're not going to start feeding them, pureed food on day 3, right? They start with milk, and then they gradually graduate to the next level of food, right? Even if you feed them the Gerber baby food, there's stages. And goals are the same way. So again, if you set your big goal and then break it down in baby steps, again, it's going to help you achieve them. So what I'm trying to teach you are the ways to actually set goals that you're going to be able to achieve. Because how many of you have set goals and you have never achieved those goals? Chances are these are the reasons why. So your short-term goals are the short-term things that are going to help you achieve that big goal. So what can you realistically achieve in 3 to 6 months? Okay, so we're going to write those down. And then midterm. Midterm is, okay, 1 to 3 years. Where do you want to be in 1 to 3 years? So set some 1 to 3 year goals so that you can see yourself achieving things in increments. Okay, and then your long-term goal, 5 to 10 years. So in 5 to 10 years, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? What goals do you want to have achieved? And that's how I break it down. And again, please, I cannot stress enough to be detailed. Be detailed, and you have to know the difference between a good goal and a bad goal. So staying organized, being organized. I am the world's worst, or world's best, however you want to put it, at creating too many goals at a time. And what happens is, I have all these ideas and I have all these things I want to achieve because I'm a goal-setting mad woman, okay? But I find that if I have my irons in too many fires at once, that I really don't achieve my goals as quickly as I could if I would just focus on one at a time. So now for me, because I'm kind of more of a novice at this, I'm not somebody who just started setting goals yesterday. I usually work on two goals at a time, and I'll have personal goals and I'll have career goals. So I guess essentially work on a couple goals at a time. But again, I've done this over and over and over again in my life, and I know how to do it. And I've been successful at achieving goals. So, once you get used to it and in the habit, if you want to work on 2 things at a time, that's possible, but I wouldn't stretch it further than that because A, you're going to get bogged down, and B, you're going to slow yourself down. You're not going to be as efficient and get things done as quickly as you could if you would just focus. So you got to stay organized, one goal at a time. All right. So the next thing, number 4, is mindset. I am a huge advocate and honestly a person who talks about motivation and inspiration all the time. So you have to get your mind right. People who achieve goals and set them and actually reach what they're trying to accomplish and are becoming successful are people who have actually worked on who they were internally. They've worked on their mindset. If you're somebody who sees the glass half empty, or if you see that, you only have 10 hours left in the day, you're probably needing to work on that a little bit, okay? Becoming successful has 90% to do with getting your mind right. I cannot stress that enough. And when you find an area that you need to work on, such as when you're defining your weaknesses and your strengths, there's nothing wrong with making your strengths stronger. And there's certainly a need to make your weaknesses strengths. So I highly suggest definitely working on yourself. Part of our coaching program is to help people do that in areas that they're not sure what to do. So once the coaching is launched, which will be very soon, we're actually working on that diligently and behind the scenes. We'll be here to help you because if you know anything about us so far, what we are about is to help you become the best possible person you can be, because we're all put on this planet to become great. A lot of us just need direction and guidance, and that is truly, truly our goal. So you got to get your mind right. So feed your mind with positive stuff every day, even if it's only 10 minutes. Or if you need to work on time management, read 5 pages on how to get better at time management. Start filling yourself with knowledge. You have to be a sponge of knowledge. Never, ever stop learning. The moment you stop allowing yourself to learn something and the moment you stop educating yourself is the moment you kind of die. Those are the people who have given up and they've settled for mediocrity, and we're not meant for that. So never, ever, ever stop learning. If you don't like to read, oh my gosh, the internet, are you kidding me? We have more videos, tutorials, and things that we can plug into than ever before. And things are born every single day. So you have absolutely no excuse not to learn, okay? So I highly, highly encourage that. You have to grow, you have to learn in order to grow. So if you want growth and if you're looking for change, you definitely have to learn, okay? Knowledge and education and applying that knowledge and education is key. Next thing, keep toxic people out of your life. Now, sometimes these people are friends and family. Now, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. So I'm not telling you to cut off, your sister or your brother or your mom. What I'm telling you is limit the negativity in your life. So, you can't write mom off, but you definitely can choose whether or not, to spend a lot of your time with them. Or if you're going to be around them a lot, you just have to, again, have a stronger mind and have an even stronger mindset so that whatever they say just kind of bounces off and doesn't affect you. Because we can't always control what other people say and do. We can never do that, actually. We can only control how we allow things to affect us and what we do ourselves, right? Okay, so you don't let defeat set in. The most successful people in the world have dealt with more struggle, more strife, and more failure than anybody. In fact, if you don't experience failure, it simply means you haven't done anything, because you have to fail in order to succeed. It's imperative. And the more you fail, the more successful you'll likely become. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of falling on your face. As long as you strengthen your mind and get your mindset right, you'll get back up and start again. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can accomplish anything you want. If you believe you can, you will. That's one of my taglines. And you absolutely can. I believe in you, and you need to believe in you. I will tell you that if you learn how to set these goals and do this, it will change your life. It totally changed my life. And what's really cool is when you can look back and look at all the goals you set and look at how much you actually accomplished. And all that's going to do is make you want to set new ones. I remember on my 40th birthday, I sat down and I actually was going through some things and found the list of goals that I had set from my lifetime when I was 17 years old, still in high school. And the really weird thing is I hadn't seen that list probably since I graduated. I was going through some things in my garage and I found it in a box and I was looking through it and, the whole nostalgia thing started happening. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is the list I made of lifetime goals that I wanted to achieve. The coolest part is, if any of you know me and if you follow me at all or if you've read my book, you know I've had a lot of obstacles. I've had a lot of obstacles and made a lot of bad choices. But what was incredible to me is that I wrote those goals down that many years ago. And when I was 40 years old, I read them and I had achieved every single one of them. So what did I do? I set more. Because you know what? My life is not even halfway over. I keep saying I'm going to live till I'm 120. So I'm only a third of the way through. So anyway, I hope this helped, because you know what? If you follow those 4 steps, and I'll go through those steps one more time, you're going to set your motivation. You're going to define your strengths and weaknesses. You're going to talk about them a lot. You're going to figure out how they're going to help you and how they're going to prevent you from reaching your goals. Then you're going to set your goals. And then you're going to get your mind right. If you do those things, you will absolutely achieve success. I promise you. It may not happen overnight. In fact, it absolutely won't happen overnight. But if you never, ever give up, you will achieve your goals if they're realistic. Now, I laugh sometimes because if it's wanting to marry somebody that you'll probably never meet, then it's probably not going to happen. So I have to encourage you to set realistic goals so that you can see yourself achieve them, so that you can be proud of who you are, proud of what you're achieving, so you can get into momentum and absolutely 100% become the best you that you possibly can be. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy this video. Please, please, please share it if you liked it, and think of somebody else that might be able to use it. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day.